me and Marvin here for Language Arts today. So remember, we are reading books all about exploring the world of fantasy. So fantasy is a special type of fiction where things are made up and other worlds are made up and things that couldn't happen. But the author does a really incredible job of making it seem real to the reader. So today, we're going to read the book called Hey Al, and check out this front cover. Whoa, it actually goes onto the back cover too. So take a moment, maybe make some predictions from the cover. What are you noticing? So this is Al, and this is his dog, Eddie. So Al is a janitor, so he's a helper and he helps to clean things up. So sometimes authors want you to think about your life. They try to teach a lesson through the story. And so as you listen to me read this story, I want you to be thinking about what the author might want you to learn. And here's a hint. That's going to have to do with your writing prompts for Language Arts today as well. So again, this is called Hey Al. It is by Arthur Yorkins and Richard Eaglesky. Tough name. All right, let's get started. Al, a nice man, a quiet man, a janitor, lived in a one-room on the west side with his faithful dog, Eddie. They ate together, they worked together, they watched TV together. What could be so bad? Plenty. Look at this dump, Eddie growled. Why can't have a house, a little backyard to run around in for a change? Oh, sure, Al snapped. Today it's a house you want, tomorrow, who knows, maybe the moon. The moon? The moon, Eddie howled. Pigeons lived better than us. No, life wasn't easy for Al and Eddie. They were always working, always struggling. It was always something. So how do we already know that this book is a fantasy? Can dogs talk? Marvin, can you talk? Dogs can communicate, but they don't talk like we do. So this is already a piece of fantasy in this book. One morning, while Al was shaving, a voice called to him. Hey, Al, it said. Al turned and saw a bird, a large bird. So now birds are talking. Al, said the bird, are you working too hard? Still struggling and going nowhere? Listen, have I got a place for you? No worries, no cares, it's terrific. Huh? Al said. He was confused. Al, you need a change. Tomorrow, come and be my guest. Eddie, too. You'll see, you'll love it. Then, with a few flaps, the bird was gone. You can imagine that evening's conversation. Eddie was already packing. What? Just quit my job? Al said. There's more to life than mops and pails, Eddie insisted. But that's it, we're going. I don't want to hear another word. At dawn, they were both in the bathroom, waiting. The large bird appeared, and Al and Eddie were ferried thousands of feet upward to an island in the sky. Wow. What do you think about this? They're being brought to an island in the sky. Interesting. unbelievable. Lush trees, rolling hills, gorgeous grass. Birds flitted to and fro. Waterfalls cascaded into shimmering pools. Would you look at this view, Eddie said. Wow, said Al. So this is a beautiful, beautiful place. How do you think Al and Eddie are feeling about this island in the sky? Think about that. Okay, here's a picture. What do you notice in this picture? It looks to me like all of the animals are welcoming them. I think it's a penguin is offering flowers. They're all looking up to Al and Eddie. They look friendly. How do you think they're feeling about this new life? Birds sang and brought them food. They drank, they swam, they sunbathed. They never had it so good. So Al, is this so terrible? The large bird asked. What a life, Al cooed. A guy could live like this forever. The days passed blissfully as memories of their old life slowly faded. Al and Eddie decided that this was ecstasy. So that means that this is blissful and happiness, and they are really, really enjoying this new life, which is very different than their old life. But ripe fruit soon spoils. One morning, Al woke up and shrieked, Eddie, look at us. We're turning into birds. Indeed, their eyes were a little beady, their noses a bit beak-like. We've got to get out of here, he croaked, wings sprouted, tail feathers plumed. Oh my goodness, what is happening? Take us back, take us back. Eddie quacked, I don't want to be a bird. I'd rather mop floors, he honked as they both flapped furiously and rose into the air. So how are Al and Eddie's feelings changing? At first, they loved it. They didn't want to go back to their old life. Now what's starting to happen? Eddie, be careful. Follow me, Al squawked. But Eddie, in a frenzy, was flying in circles higher and higher. Exhausted, straining to stay aloft, he plunged into the open sea and was gone. So they're trying to fly back to the city. Al barely made it home in one piece. Alone, without his friend, he was heartbroken. So he's back in his apartment, but he's without Eddie, his friend. But fortunately, Eddie was a talented swimmer, and in no time he found his way back to the west side. Eddie, Al cried. Oh, Al. How do you think Eddie and Al are feeling now? They're back where they started, but they have each other again. How do you think they're feeling? Paradise lost is sometimes heaven found. I'm going to read that line again. Paradise lost is sometimes heaven found. Think about what that means. So they traveled to a beautiful place. It was beautiful and they loved it. But then they ended up turning into birds, and they didn't want to turn into birds. So they came back to their same life in their one-bedroom apartments. Looks like he's doing his job again as a janitor. It says, paradise lost. They lost the paradise, but heaven found. Do you think that Al and Eddie have a new sense of appreciation for their old life, for their life? What do you think about that? So let's talk a little bit about this book. So people can change their feelings about something from having an experience. So think about Al and Eddie's feelings at the beginning and at the end of the story. So think about their feelings at the beginning. Were they happy with their apartment? Were they happy with their job, with their life? So what caused Al's and Eddie's feelings about their lives to change by the end of the story? So how did their feelings change? They went through this whole adventure and they went to this paradise, but then they turned into birds and they ended up back where they started. How did their feelings change about their life? So settings often change in a story. So how are the two settings of this story alike, and how are they different? And how are Al and Eddie different in each of these settings? So the first setting is their apartment in the city. The second setting is the paradise, the island in the sky. So how are these settings alike? How are these settings different? And how are Al and Eddie different in each of these settings? So I noticed that in the beginning in the apartment, Eddie complained a lot. He said he didn't like it, it wasn't good enough. And in the paradise, he loved it. He thought it was great. But then at the end, he had a new appreciation for his normal life. So here is your question for language arts, and it might mean something different to all of us. But my question is, what do you think the author of this book wants you to think about after reading this story? So again, your answer is going to be totally different than your friend's answer. But I want you to really think about this story. What do you think the author wants you to think about after reading this story? What is the message the author's trying to teach us? I would also love for you to draw a picture to go with this. All right? Thank you. Happy writing. I'll see you soon.